Prime Minister Modi has launched a scathing attack and has claimed that former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi has scrapped the inheritance tax primarily because he did not want to share his inherited property with the government. While addressing a rally, the Prime Minister said he wants to impose the tax again. The inheritance law had been scrapped in 1985. Prime Minister Modi has also claimed that the Congress wants to confiscate people's jewellery and small savings by conducting an X-ray of their properties and valuables. He even added that for Congress, family will always remain first, no matter what the situation. We'll talk about this with our guests. Joining us on the show at this point in time is Jasmine Sandhavalia, BJP spokesperson. Mr. Ikram Sandhu, Congress spokesperson, joins us on the program as well. Last but not the least, Mr. Deshratan Nigam, political analyst, with us on the program as well. All right, welcome everyone to this conversation. Obviously, Ikram, I'll begin with you. Thank you for joining in. What do you make of the Prime Minister's attacks, and how do you weigh them in terms of their gravitas and what this entire blow-up has become now? What started out as a manifesto, got embroiled when Sam Pitroda made those statements about inheritance as well. And now, in the middle of the election, it seems to be a big dig that the Prime Minister continuously takes towards the Congress party. Has that landed the Congress party in a bad spot?
On the contrary, it has landed the BJP and the Prime Minister in a very hard space, because every day he's changing his statements. What was he saying day before yesterday? That Congress will bring in inheritance tax and they will take away all your money. Now he says the Congress scrapped inheritance tax because they wanted to save their own money. You are the Prime Minister of the country. At least do some homework before you come on stage and give these speeches through your teleprompters. At least tell your speech writers to go into the gravitas of the topic that you're going to speak on and then tell you exactly what to say. Day before yesterday, he had no clue in the world about inheritance tax and that Rajiv Gandhi ji is the Prime Minister who scrapped that estate tax that we had in our country. So when that thing came out that Rajiv Gandhi ji scrapped inheritance tax and his own Minister of State for Finance, Jayant Sinha, and Finance Minister Arun Jaitley were advocates of inheritance tax, he has completely changed tracks today and people see through it. You're the Prime Minister of the country and you use that word like gravitas. Gravitas and Mr. Modi are oxymorons. They just don't go with each other. The only thing he can do is he can gaslight. So it is a Hindu-Muslim on everything, and it is get Rajiv Gandhi, get Indira Gandhi, get Nehru, prime ministers, illustrious prime ministers of these countries who are no more in this world. He will blacken their record, he will say half-truths, he'll lie about them, and that is all. And people have kind of seen through it. You go to a public meeting now, whatever Mr. Modi says, people says, nahi ji, wo bolte jada hai, karte kam hai, aur kuch bhi bol dete. So that is the long and short of it. It is a sad state when the Prime Minister has to hear that wo kuch bhi bol dete.
Mr. Nigam, how do you respond to that? Is this a statement which is being exposed to being topsy-turvy on behalf of the Prime Minister? How would you lend any context to it?
Well, we all know Sam Pitroda is very close to the Gandhi family. And when he makes a statement, one has to take it seriously. I mean, it has happened that the top leaders, including Mr. Rahul Gandhi, have spoken so many things in the past, especially on foreign land, without any clarity, and then everybody jumps in to clarify. At least 100 MPs jump in to clarify. Why make such a statement where you require such an immense amount of clarification? Here, Mr. Sam Pitroda clearly made a statement, and he's the congressman, head of the Overseas Congress. And when he makes a statement, and then Congress comes up, no, we don't agree with it. And the Prime Minister, yes, can anybody deny it was scrapped in 1985? It was known as state duty, which was introduced in 1953. Why was it scrapped? Because the tax collections were very low. The total tax collection throughout the year was about 20 crores in that. And it did not achieve any objective. And the Congress has brought in, the Prime Minister is only responding to it. Please remember that. It was not that he suddenly got up one day and he started speaking about inheritance tax. It was the Congress, head of the Overseas Congress, which brought in this And then it was responded. Yes, if you throw a full toss to the Prime Minister Modi, he'll hit it for a 6, and he did hit it for a 6. Please understand that. You may say, no, he's landed in a soup. Yes, he is not landed in a soup. It's the Congress which gave a full toss and he hit for a 6, and which he always does so. Why not? The parties are in competitive politics. You throw something weak to him and he'll throw it out of the ground. And that is what he has done. And it was already there. And the context, why was it brought, why this inheritance tax, which was actually known as state duty, scrapped in 1985. He has given a context and a reason for it also, because the money had to be inherited. We all know how Indira Gandhi imposed emergency because she needed to save her election, which was set aside by Allahabad High Court, and in Supreme Court SLP, it was upheld. Then the review was filed, and the entire Supreme Court was changed. So many judges were bypassed, and in order to save that her seat as a prime minister, she imposed emergency. This is exactly the same kind. Family first, nation afterwards. That is what the prime minister has clearly highlighted today, that this is what Congress is. It is not concerned about nation. You scrap it, then you have your very close person who's a congressman to say that we'll impose inheritance tax. What is all this? Please set your own house in order, Congress. That's what we are asking. The Prime Minister, will utilize each and every weak point you throw it to him, and he has done it to the hilt. And why not? And I certainly stand by the Prime Minister's statement. And there is a coherency in that. He found out from the archives that it was the Congress which scrapped, and the reason also that he has given. And the Congress again tries to bring it out and levy inheritance tax on the people. So why not? And he has done so rightly, Vineet.
Okay, let's also bring in Jasmine into this conversation. Jasmine ji, how would you look at this back and forth? This is obviously ranging between the aspirational and the pragmatic. On one hand, the Congress feels that this redistribution is the only answer when it comes to eliminating the inequality that exists in our country. And on the other hand, it has also given evidence in the past that perhaps this is not the best idea in a country which is perhaps hungry for reforms.
Well, it's very, very unfortunate that the Congress party is stooping to such low levels in this election. If you notice, Sam Pitroda has not just given an interview to the ANI. Sam Pitroda has a personal relationship the Gandhis. He was Rajiv Gandhi's very personal friend. So for him to say something like that carries way more weight, and it is very worrying for every Indian, because if you, like my friend prior to me speaking, has said that this state law was abolished by Rajiv Gandhi. And why was it abolished? It was abolished so that it could benefit his children, and Indira Gandhi's state the money could be transferred to the grandchildren. Now, when you look at the psychology and the economics demographic of India, India is a country where culturally we inherit property from our parents, from our grandparents. It's a cultural thing. This is not United States of America. This is a totally different country, and the psychology of inheriting is totally different. And I think what Congress is doing in a desperate bid, it is trying to divide the country and harping on the subject that it will redistribute the wealth. Redistribute the wealth to who? To people who produce many children, to people who will loot us. How can you justify that you will bring in an inheritance law in India, in today's progressive India, where in the last decade, our Prime Minister has relentlessly worked towards an economy which was number 11th, and today we stand at number 5 in the world. It is something which we should all be proud of. What Congress is doing, it has actually lost the battle, and it is going into pits and trying to encourage riots. It is encouraging a different segment of psychology in the country.
All right. Mr. Sandhu, how do you respond to this, that the Congress should in fact look within before targeting the Prime Minister or raking up this issue, which I've spoken to a few economists also in the past couple of days. It really does not make logical sense, even to talk about it. Forget about implementing it.
Vineetji, we have not even talked about it. You read our 45-page manifesto. Where is it written that we will be redistributing wealth by taking it
Rahul
from
Gandhi has said
somebody?
that in a few rallies.
No, he has not.
He has.
He has said, look,
I'll share links with you. I'll share links with you.
You are talking about his Hyderabad rally, and he has also clarified, the party president has clarified, Jairam Ramesh has clarified, and when all these people clarify, you should take it at face value. Now, coming to who has advocated inheritance tax, they are talking about Sam Petroda. Sam Petroda was never in the Indian government. Jayant Sinha was the Minister of State for Finance. Arun Jaitley was the Minister of Finance. They advocated inheritance tax in 2014 till 2018, and there was a buzz that in the 2019 budget, you will have an inheritance tax coming back. That is what the truth about the BJP is. Now coming to the second part, what we are talking about. We are talking about wealth redistribution because there's a skew in India. And how do I talk about it? You just look at the corporate tax. The corporate tax structure has been reduced over the last 5 years. And do you know what is the amount of tax that we are losing from corporates on a year-on-year basis? It is 3 lakhs crore. It used to be 27%. Today it is 21.7% that is taken as corporate tax. So the loss to the exchequer is something like 3 lakh crores every year. Who is benefiting? It's the corporates who are benefiting. On a 5-year period, this becomes a 15 lakh crore figure, which is more than the total debt that farmers have in the country, which is something between 12 to 13 lakh crores. So that is the kind of advantage this government has given to the corporates. But when you talk about debt waiver of the farmers, that is a no. Coming to the second part, in the last 9 years, 16 lakh crore of corporate loan has been waived off. So put these two figures together, you are coming at a figure of 31 lakh crore, the largest that Mr. Modi has given to the corporates. Why has it been only given to the corporates? Why not to the middle class? Why not to the lower middle class? Why not to the farmers? This is what we are talking about. This government is working only for the rich and only for the crony capitalists who helped Mr. Modi in his election, in his electoral fund scams, and pump money into BJP, making it the fattest, richest, and most corrupt party in the world. What Rahul Gandhi ji is talking about, that this is a no-go. This 31 lakh crores that you have given to your corporate friends, they will not happen.
But Mr.
When
Sandhu,
India
Mr.
government comes to power,
Mr. Sandhu, for the sake of argument, you know, the BJP is going to shoot back and say, what about the scandals and, you know, the scams that happened during the UP era? How much do they amount to?
I will talk about that. Absolutely, absolutely. You had that Adarsh scandal where the houses which was supposed to be given to the wives and widows of martyrs, the person who ate those flats, what is he today? He is the Rajya Sabha member from BJP. There was a 70,000 crore irrigation scam in Maharashtra. What did that corrupt person do? Where is he today? He is the Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra in the BJP government. Narayan Rane. Talk about Himanta Biswa Sarma. Talk about Subhendu Adhikari. All the people that BJP said were corrupt are today in cahoots with BJP. So I ask BJP, are they corrupt or not? If they are corrupt, then your government is filled with corrupt people.
You haven't answered my question, Mr. Sandhu.
South and east to the west. If they are not corrupt,
you haven't answered my question,
like
Mr. Sandhu. Mr. Sandhu, you haven't answered my question. What if the question comes back to you that what about the scandals that took place during the UP era? How can you advocate this by saying that the BJP is corrupt and not look at the scandals and scams that happened during the UP era? It's basically saying do as I say but not as I do.
Vineet ji, now we were talking about, redistribution. Now you have come to corruption. Okay, let's talk about it. Tell me one scandal.
You brought that up, sir. You brought that up.
Let's talk about just one scandal. Tell me a scandal that you want to talk about. Tell me.
Okay, let's talk about 2G. Let's talk about Commonwealth.
Yeah. What did the Supreme Court give in its judgment? Nobody has been convicted in the 2G case.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
If the Supreme Court in the Gujarat Royd cases exonerates Prime Minister Modi and anybody talks about it, then it is harakari. You are speaking against the Supreme Court. But when in the 2G case, the same legal system has exonerated the people, it is fair weathers to talk about it.
Fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
I believe this double standard everywhere
All right.
is
Fair
really
enough.
wrong.
You've answered my question. I appreciate that. Mr. Nigam, would you like to respond to that?
Well, something, let me tell you, 2G appeal is pending in Delhi High Court. It's still not got to the Supreme Court. Let's make it very clear. Mr. Sandhu, please correct your facts.
So the lower court, I'm talking about the lower
So
court.
you said Supreme Court. I was clearly hearing.
I juxtaposed it
That's
with
the reason I was raising my finger.
Mr. Modi's case, where you always say that if a BBC documentary comes, it is wrong because the Supreme Court has done. The lower court is also a court of justice. If it has given a judgment, that judgment has to be
All
respected.
right. Let Mr.
Till
Nigam
that time,
respond.
it is not
All right.
overturned by a
Okay,
high.
Mr. Nigam, you've made the correction. Now please respond to my question.
So therefore, there are a number of scams that have taken place. Now, see, the purpose of this discussion was inheritance tax. And why was it, scrapped by Rajiv Gandhi? Because of corruption only. The corruption, that was the only reason that you are inheriting something, therefore you don't want it to be inherited, and you used it so that a particular family benefits. That's hardcore corruption, individual family corruption. Mr. Sandhu will not answer that. Therefore,
I will answer it, but I don't want to butt in. You finish, then I'll speak.
So therefore, this particular inheritance tax that we are talking about has come from a Congress person who is the head of the overseas Congress. Please understand that. It is not given in their manifesto. That's the most dubious thing. You don't give it in manifesto, but you say it in your rallies. That means you don't want to be bound by your manifesto, but you still want to derive some benefit out of it. Do you think 6,000 rupees going to the farmers is not redistribution of wealth? Do you think the making of rural roads so that the rural economy develops is not redistribution of wealth? Do you think the money going into the pregnant women's account is not redistribution of wealth? There are thousands of schemes which are doing redistribution of wealth, which it should go. You don't want the wealth creators in India who are providing jobs to crores of people, whether it is the favorite, once upon a time favorite of Congress, Birla's, Tata's, they are also doing it. You can't attack them. They are wealth creators and they're providing huge amount of technology, employment, everything to the people. The poor are also getting employed, but you won't agree. You are the ones who gave loans to through direct from the finance minister to the Vijay Mallya's. Please understand that.
Okay.
And the huge amount of loan was the phone banking system that the finance ministry was handling at that point of time. Please read the CAG report of that point of time. The word by word corruption that they have given. It was audited. Audited means mind has been applied to it. It is not in vacuum. Everything was audited by Comptroller and Auditor General of India. They are the ones who have brought out this corruption. It was not the BJP who brought it out.
Okay.
Therefore,
all right.
Let's get much more weightage.
Yeah. Let's get a response from Jasmine, and then we'll get a collective response from Mr. Sandhu as well. Jasmine ji, go ahead.
Well, I want to say that when Mr. Sandhu talks about redistribution and categorically says that BJP has done nothing for the farmers, I'm a farmer myself. I come from Punjab. Never before any government before the BJP came into power believed in giving 6,000 rupees to the farmers. Those 6,000 rupees are deposited in each and every account of a farmer, which is a great relief to him. Look at the subsidy that we are getting on urea, the Neem-coated urea. Nearly 4 crore houses built for the poor. The Ayushman scheme of 5 lakhs for the poor people to get treated. If you notice today, the medical expenses of an average man, if he goes for major surgery, whether it's cancer, heart, or any surgery, is phenomenal. And not many civil hospitals are equipped and are able to treat our large segment of population. Now with that scheme, with that insurance scheme, anybody can avail that facility, whether he's an auto rickshaw driver or whether she's a maid in somebody's house. So let's not talk about redistribution of wealth. Where redistribution of wealth is concerned, Mr. Modi and the BJP has taken a phenomenal leap, and never before have we had such a proactive Prime Minister who has always kept the lower middle class and the poor in mind.
Mr. Sandhu, of course, the Prime Minister also targeted, like I said in my opening monologue, that Rajiv Gandhi scrapped this law because, the personal gains out of it would have been hindered. How do you respond to that? And of course, what Mr. Nigam also said.
Well, this is just juvenile talk, and that is such a sad state that the Prime Minister of India has to talk like a juvenile. Now, I can turn back and say that why didn't Indira Gandhi do it? Because she also inherited it from Jawaharlal Nehru. So at that time, she should have done it. Why did she give that text at that time? This is such a kiddish argument to have that because you were in power, you just did it for yourself. If it was, I am in power and I'll just do it for myself, I'll do it the very first time. When Jawaharlal Nehru ji passed away, at that time, Indira Gandhi in 1966 could have done it when she became the prime minister. She did not. It is such a sad state that a prime minister today is casting aspersion on ex-prime ministers, people who have sat on the seat that he is sitting on today. It is only somebody with a very small mentality and a very small heart can talk like that. That is the long and short of what he says about Rajiv Gandhi ji, that he did it because of his own personal interest. He did it in the interest of the country. Mr. Nigam has already talked about people who know about this matter. They know about it, that the kind of money that had to be spent to accrue that was more than what you were getting out of it. So therefore it was scrapped. It was in the interest of the country. It was in the interest of the exchequer that he did it. But somebody who is the only person in the country to have a degree in total political science, only he can talk about it. Nobody else, no other sane person can talk about it. Now, can I respond to a couple of other things?
Sure,
that
sure,
my
absolutely.
panelists talked
Absolutely,
about?
Mr. Sandhu, absolutely.
Absolutely. Thank you. So there was a Pew report, and you must have gone through it, which came out that the bottom 40%, their real income has actually gone down in the last 8 years, while the top 10%, their income has increased by 9 times since 2016. Now, is this the redistribution that we want? That the top 10% get a 9 times fillip, while the bottom 40% stay where they are, where they were in 2016. This is just one small technical point that we should always think about. That is the bottom of the pyramid that we have to think about. Any tax reform should not be for your billionaire friends. Any tax reform should be for the bottom of the pyramid. You should not give them tax credits while if you want to go and buy dahi today, you want to go and buy milk today, you have to pay GST on that. When we were in government, the excise on fuel was 3% central excise. Today, this government charges 33 rupees as central excise on every liter of petrol that you buy. This rupees 30 is a tax that everybody pays every time you go to the petrol pump for every liter that you purchase. It might be a plumber, it might be a carpenter, it might be somebody who's working in somebody's house. Everybody has to shell that out. Why? This is what we are talking about, that the bottom of the pyramid are the people who need to be protected. But in Mr. Modi's regime, it is the people at the top of the pyramid who are protected. And this is what Rahulji is talking about, that once India comes to power, this will not happen. People at the top of the pyramid, of course, every incentive will be given to them to grow, but it will be equitable growth. It will not be growth that you can spend 1,000 crore on the marriage of your children, while somebody else cannot even spend 10,000 rupees on the marriage of his child. This is not the India that we want. We want an India where everybody has self-respect and everybody has it.
But Mr. Sandhu, the central government is going to come and turn around and say that you had the opportunity to run this country for decades. Why wasn't it done then?
It has always been there. Just a few days back, there was this report which said that the inequality today is more than what it used to be in British Raj. Tell me one time from 1947 till 2014, when Congress was in power, that inequality was more than it was in British Raj. When Jawaharlal Nehru ji started his government, what was the first amendment which we came up with, which everybody forgets? Desh Ratan Nigam ji is a legal luminary, he will remember. It was abolition of Zimidara. What was abolition of Zimidara? That somebody who's tilling land generation after generation, generation after generation, generation after generation is still a wanted laborer, while somebody else has all the rights on
Mr.
that
Sandhu,
land.
we've run out of time. I'm going to take quick closing thoughts from Mr. Nigam and Jasmine, and then we wrap up. Mr. Nigam, quickly, 30 seconds.
Yeah. Let me tell you, if inheritance tax was bad and it was removed, why the Congress is talking now to bring it back? Then 100 clarifications. One. Secondly, how does the lower bottom of our country has benefited? Now, if you give ration to 80 crore people, does it not save their income, which becomes disposable income in their hand, which can be used for them? If you give them 6,000 rupees to the farmers, does it not increase the income into the hand which goes into the economy, rural economy? Similarly, various other schemes. This is how you increase the standard of people at the lower level, not by snatching somebody. That is the point I am trying to make. That there is ways of
Understood. And
redistribution of
that
wealth.
lays perhaps reforms. Jasmine?
Well, I totally disagree with Mr. Sandhu because he's kind of digressing when we're talking about Inheritance Act. The problem here is that Mr. Rahul Gandhi is trying to retrieve his position by harping on it now. It is something which they want to do. It has been touted, and an interview has been given by Mr. Sam Pitroda, who is not only their chief Indian Overseas Congress president, but was also very close to his father. So what Mr. Pitroda is saying is actually the Congress mouthpiece, and the Congress does not know how to hide it because the people of India totally
I think
understand
everybody has had the opportunity to put in their points. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Appreciate everyone weighing in on this important matter.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.